Hello YouTube, and welcome to episode 4 of the Koimonogatari reaction series, that being a smaller part of the Monogatari second season reaction series. Welcome back today, excited to jump into just a smidge more Monogatari, it's always good for the soul. Little bit of housekeeping, just in general, always do have some housekeeping, I'm like that. Poll, there is a poll for a new show in kind of the middle of the week slot, where Lane was. So if you have not already voted in said poll, there is a link in the description for the Discord, so hop in there, vote for what you like. There's lots of shows in the poll. Here are the shows on the poll. Vote for what you like. It's still fairly close, and people can make changes if they want to. Your votes will count. And you can actually see how many votes certain things have, so jump in if you want. You may have noticed, but there is only one episode today, episode 4. And that is unfortunate. I always like to do the 2 episodes for Monogatari, but I've been told that a better stopping point is episode 4, and then keeping 5 and 6 together for the finale. So that's what we're going to do. And I don't know. I literally have no idea what's in the episode, so it's hard to say if they're correct or not, but it's the only correspondence I've got on the issue, so I guess we should jump in from there. As always, jumping into the YouTube comments today, there's only a few. A couple of them apparently get spoilery, so I might just avoid parts of it. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so here's what happens when I read comments. So I get a notification on my phone. I read the notification on my phone. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a comment. I'll look at it. I'll skim it, and then I'll just hit heart, just so people know that I've read it. It's going to be included. Blah 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 blah. It also gets it off my feed. But anyway, that's some inside baseball stuff. So I don't really fully read the comment until now. So that's kind of my process there. As a result, if I read a comment that is potentially spoilery and people reply under it and say, hey, this is potentially spoilery, I'm just like not going to read the comment on the show itself, so as to keep myself as spoiler free as possible. Again, it's probably overkill, but I like to be overkill. Either way, first comment here from TJ Gibson. Nadeko shares a voice actress with Hina from Three Getsu no Line. Hina, one of the main characters, I guess you would argue in Three Getsu no Line. Sengetsu, whatever you want to say. And yeah, Kana Hanazawa popping off again. Like, she's very good. Like, I think this is actually probably justifiably true, too. I think she's, like, number something on Mal. She's very high up on Mal. Not that Mal is the be-all end-all or anything. So then there's this comment here from Gian Bueno. Apparently gets spoilery in this part here, so I might just not include it. Sorry, Gian. But yeah, always does a long comment, which is nice to read. I'm just going to avoid that last point. The closet from the beginning of Nisei Monogatari. I don't remember this at all. Okay, cool. So there is a scene at the start of Nisei Monogatari where Araragi visits Nadeko's bedroom, which would actually be probably pretty interesting to view, knowing what we know now. And I think there's some reference to the closet from what he's saying, so... Again, I watched it, but it was months ago, so it's hard to say. So that's good. Loving the way that Nadeko acts after she becomes a god, feels so fitting. I will say, yeah, the situation seems believable for her character up to this point. I agree with that. And this could be interesting for a different video even. Nadeko and Hanakawa, two people that dealt with, I guess, being rejected in different ways in the same season. There's definitely some parallels there. Kind of both wanting affection from Araragi, to put it lightly. Another great thing about this arc is Kaiki's attitude. I agree. He's very amusing. He's also a proper adult in contrast to everybody else. Everyone else is figuring shit out. They're kids. It's a coming of age story in a number of ways, right? And seeing a person that is like, this is what I believe, and this is how I'm going to execute on this, and what you guys have been doing before is kind of stupid. It both undercuts what has gone on so far, but also recontextualizes it in like a cool way. So it can still be important to the characters in our main POV character in Araragi, but then in the grand scheme of things, like, it's not really that important. Like, get over yourselves, right? And yeah, John's right. It kind of extends to how adults are written overall, right? So does he get into it here? Yes, he does. So Oshino, friendly counselor, and then Kaganui, who believes in discipline, and then Kaiki's like, well, tough luck, kiddo. Life isn't all flowers and sunshine, which is probably where I'm leaning as well as I grow up. Just get on with it, basically. And then, yeah, this one point before the last one. I find it very interesting how Kaiki tends to include traffic accidents in his narratives. Yeah, I find this a little bit spoilery too. It's like, come on. You can say that after the fact, and I'll be like, wow, that blew my mind. But saying it, like, right now, it's like, okay, well, that's in my head. There's obviously something there, right? Anyway, we're gonna leave the rest of that. But thanks for the comment anyway. Again, I have no context for what's spoilery and what's not. This could be fine. There could be nothing. It could be context, but I just don't want to be spoiled, even accidentally spoiled. In contrast to that comment before, we've got G-Bird's comment, which is this Nadeko Dayo, which I'm pretty sure is what she says when she jumps out at the front of the temple, kind of like some FNAF shit. And I think Kochin kind of has the right way to go about this kind of stuff as well. Frustrating when you want to say a lot of things, but you can't to a blind watcher. Yeah, just keep in mind that I'm a blind watcher. I guess I'll talk about it now as well. I got a Discord DM from somebody, and they're like, "Hey, why are you purposely skipping past stuff in the editing portion?" And I'm like, "No, I definitely watched the full episode again, which I probably shouldn't, but I do. Just my editing style's weird, so it may look like I'm all over the place, but I definitely read through it. But okay, so here's what you can do, right? Say, go to this time code, or maybe just watch that scene again. See if you can find anything, like kind of gentle hints in the right direction. Just see if you can find something, because this was what this Discord DM did as well. They're like, you should look at that scene where Kaiki and Senjugahara are talking about their past relationship again. And I did notice something. There's this look from Senjugahara after Kaiki says what he says, right? Where he kind of brushes away their past relationship in a way, kind of like, yeah, something happened, I guess. And then Senjugahara's like looking away slightly, and she's like, yeah. And then it cuts to Kaiki, and Kaiki's just like trying to figure her out still. So that's some intrigue, right? That's some potentially Senjugahara has some different interpretations of what went on between the two that Kaiki doesn't share. So all is not what it seems. There's some different layers there. That's what I like. Just some subtle pushing. Hey, maybe look at that scene once again. I like that. So I just read this whole comment before, and I found this part spoilery as well. I know I'm like harking on about it, but not this part. This part's fine, but this part here, pretty spoilery. I don't like that. So I'm gonna not read it again and try to forget about it, even though it might not be. It just feels spoilery, and that's kind of more important. I don't know. I'm kind of obsessed with it today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Sorry if I'm offending anybody or their comments or anything. I really don't want to. I really appreciate them. It's just Wait, I'm trying to make the best product possible. Either way, I guess I should introduce it again. It's Kramer's comment. The stuff about the Tori is nice. I asked for this specifically. What is the meaningfulness of the Tori? Apparently, it's disrespectful to pass through the center of said Tori, but we see Kaiki standing directly in the middle. Again, we know his, I guess, flippant opinion of spirituality and stuff in Monogatari. And the Tori themselves, they also act as a symbol to mark the transition from the normal everyday to the sacred. So how is that related to Kaiki's character? Kramer doesn't have any concrete answers, but whenever he's like going into his like mind palace, I think. I don't know, something to watch. It's definitely a choice for a reason. Yeah, we talked about changing POV already. Senjugahara looks like an inexperienced brat. I agree with this a lot. She's very... you never see Senjugahara get one-upped. You know what I mean? Say in an argument, right? Araragi would never beat Senjugahara in an argument. Never, ever, ever. Well, kind of. You know what I mean, though, right? Where Kaiki... It'll be... I've said before, it's like clashing swords. Clash, 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 clash. Kaiki, deadly blow. Every single time, right? And then Senjugahara just quits out. And yet, this is a nice detail. This is a correction that I wanted. The darkness won't come if Shinobu becomes a god again. The reason she was chased in the first place is because she pretended or lied to be a god. So she was still internalizing herself as a vampire, but she lied about being a god. So that's where the problem lies. And yes, someone intervened, clearly referencing Orgi. I figured this out. She caused Nadeko to become a god. Why did Orgi do this? Okay, so this implies some things. Why didn't she want Shinobu to be the god? Or is there some specific purpose around Nadeko being the god? Again, we're watching Orgi like a hawk, right? We don't know what's going on there. Next comment here by Matt. Shout out to your Senjugahara fascination this episode. Yeah, she was quite cute. I wonder if we're going to see that continue. I wonder if that's a perspective thing. I don't know. She is definitely cutesier this arc, I would say. Less outwardly, aggressive. She's very full-on Senjugahara when we're in Araragi's point of view, right? And when we've seen Hanakawa's point of view, which I think Matt talks about as well, yes. She's quite caring and a little bit more, I don't know if I would call it feminine, but You know what I mean, right? It's just, girls act differently around girls than they do with their partner. I'm not a girl, obviously, but I think I know that enough. I would imagine so, right? The battle of wits between Senju and Kaiki is fun, almost flirtatious. Interesting in context with what I said before. And this is a weird one too. Kaiki seems to show genuine anguish when he realizes he's not going to be able to convince Nadeko to just give up being a god. I didn't notice this. I might have to go back and have a look. I do notice that he is doing a less good job this arc of hiding what he secretly wants to happen. You know what I mean? There's that first scene in the cafe where he's trying to convince himself to take the job, but he can't find a reason to justify it. So I think there's something of that going on. Deep down, somewhere, he wants Senju to live and succeed and prosper and everybody to be okay, right? But that's always not practical, and he also has a number of philosophies and rules in his head that he needs to abide by as well. That's what makes him kind of fascinating. I definitely underrated him when I first saw him in Nisei. We have Justin Live, first comment. That's great. So yeah, catched up. I like these. I've also had there's a certain comment. I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but he comments on all the old videos as well, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. I like reading through the old ones, and then yeah, that just prompts me to think about what I was thinking back then. You know what I mean? First, drop some nice context about the inspiration for the North Shirahebi Shrine in Monogatari, the Fushimi Inari Shrine. If I can read, which is good generally. It kind of posits that the torii gates leading up to the shrine may symbolize the wishes and requests that one may make at said shrine. Okay. So the scenes in the Okinawan cafe setting area, they're based off landmarks in Okinawa, like Shuri Castle, and the iconic Churayumi, we're going to say, Churayumi Aquarium. So yeah, that's kind of when they're talking in those kind of dreamscape spaces. And yeah, when I said the ocean, I was right the first time. It was actually an aquarium. Just a very large one. There's a load of other different references for the locations in Monogatari, which is pretty cool. I like this stuff. There's surely some comparison images and that kind of thing. The Japanese fandom crazy about locations and details, and you can type this in, and you'll see some pilgrimage videos, which are nice, but obviously not watching them now. Yeah, thanks for the comment. I like that one. Oh, it was Hibernape. Yes, okay. This is the person that had commented on all the previous videos. Yes, nice. He's caught up. Links a time code and then kind of blames it on the change in perspective. So trust in the changes, look for the changes, which is probably something I've been neglecting a little bit in the analysis. And maybe watch that final confrontation in Karen B again after Koimonogatari. And then, yeah, just continue rewatching stuff, which I'm sure everybody else does as well, always thinking of different things. Kaiki is fascinating, I do not disagree. Next comment here by MC Steve. So this is in reference to the little notepad Kaiki has. The Snake School being Nadeko's middle school, which Kaiki imagines is just filled with bratty children, which is a nice little insight there. And yeah, Kaiki's doodles are oddly familiar, so this is something specifically I would have no context for, and somebody else would find this really fucking awesome. I don't watch the previews. I haven't watched the previews for a bit since they've been doing that cartoony style. And yeah, the Kaiki's implied to be the artist of them, or at least like there's some kind of meta thing going on there, which completely went over my head. Obviously, I just thought it was like a cutesy Japanese art style. But now you can probably rewatch a lot of those previews and then think, hey, this is Kaiki's interpretation of what's going on, and then read into that, and there's a whole meta aspect to that I've completely missed. But this is probably the biggest reveal related to it. Others are largely minor or forgettable bits of information otherwise that I'm sure people will just let me know anyway. You take the good with the bad. I don't really like previews anyway. Either way, last comment here by Dharma Mancia. Remember to doubt everything in this arc, like Kaiki said, because you should know that Monogatari relies heavily on narrator perspective, so... But, okay, this is weird to me. Would Kaiki lie to himself? And we've seen a lot of Kaiki internal dialogue. There's a scene, okay, this is like really tangential and weird, right? But there's this game called Heavy Rain. And there's 4 characters in Heavy Rain, and you control the 4 different characters, and one of them isn't always telling the truth, but they don't allude to this when you see their internal dialogue, which makes it really, really weird when certain things happen. Really vague spoilers for a game from fucking 15 years ago, by the way. But anyway, my point being, we've seen internal motivations for Kaiki. He can't be pulling a fast one too hard unless there's some other bigger reveal that I'm missing. Anyway, we'll see. And yeah, just praising the VA work for Kaiki in particular. But yeah, everybody's been amazing. They've been really, really good this arc. It's been very noticeable. So shoutouts to the voice cast. Rightio, so recap time, and this will be relatively quick because I talked about the comments too long. Kaiki accepts the deal, so he goes back to Senjukahara, they shake hands, they go back to Tokyo, well, I think it is Tokyo, anyway, whatever city. He investigates the house in disguise, which is quite a funny scene. Then he goes over to the closet. The parents say, no closet. So he can't go in the closet. The closet is clearly a element of interest. And yeah, it kind of a lead into this episode now, but that's kind of skipping ahead. He calls Senjukahara, tries to gain any other information about Nadeko he can get, and Senjukahara knows close to nothing, which is kind of funny. His last resort is to just kind of go to the shrine and see what's up, and it turns out it was really, really good choice because he fools Nadeko, kind of. And she starts spilling a lot of the beans, and he puts a lot of things together, and he starts to make his plan of attack to get this job done. Then it's the start of episode 3, if I'm not wrong, where he meets with Senjukahara and tells her, essentially, this will be quite easy to do, you will survive, it'll all be okay. Which is nice, gets a nice response out of Senjukahara as well, kind of reassures her in a way, I guess. However, there's a meeting later in the episode with Yotsugi where she basically says that Guy and Izuku would disagree with what you're doing, please don't disturb the balance, things are good, we fixed things. There was some kind of plan involving Shinobu that didn't go correctly the way we wanted it to go, so that's a little bit funny. There was also a choice line about what they were trying to do back in August and what actually happened that I'm now forgetting, so I might go and look at that quickly. Yeah, I guess I was tripping. It's basically just they say as a spoiler and then say what Guy and Nezuko is trying to do, which isn't exactly terrifying. Either way, they kind of bury the lead in that scene. I find it quite fascinating. Either way, Guy Nezuko disapproves of what Kaiki's doing. He's going to pursue it anyway, which is his decision at the end of the scene. It's kind of a funny flip-flop between the chapters there, which I found quite amusing, so that was nice. Either way, one more meeting with Nadeko. He goes back up, sees her at the shrine, gets some more information, kind of, tries to convince her even more, gets on her level, blah, blah, blah. Basically explains what he's going to try to do for the next little bit. Kaiki is tailed as he's traveling home from this destination, but he escapes, ? Are they gone? Are they still tailing him? It's unclear. Either way, Kaiki sees what's in the closet. He kind of tricks Nadeko's parents, gets them out of the house, sees what's in the closet, says like what the hell or something, and then the episode ends. We don't get to see it. So that is the most obvious prediction ever. What's in the box? What are we going to see? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I wouldn't imagine we're doing something like there's nothing in the box. I think that'd be a little bit strange. There's going to be something there that is of importance, that has been of importance to Nadeko for a while, considering what happened in Nisei. So, watching for that. I guess I'll jump into some ideas for the kind of arc so far that we need to keep an eye on. There's loads of interesting point of view stuff, which we've been through. A different look at Senjukahara, a different look at Nadeko, and more than a different look, I would say. She's a different character now, to some extent anyway. I will say Yotsugi didn't really change. She was still very bubbly. Clearly familiar with Kaiki, though. Either way, outside of that, it's hard to say what other major ideas we have going on with only seeing half of the arc so far. I guess there's stuff about balance broadly. What is Guy Nezuko trying to do? Why is there need to be a god? Is there a power vacuum? Blah, 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 blah. And lies broadly, deception, who's telling the truth, who's not, can we trick a god, all these kind of things, right? I guess that's a pretty basic look at the themes of the arc so far. Some more predictions, who's tailing him, they've kept mentioning it, it's clearly somewhat important to some stuff, so they've mentioned it's a middle schooler. Karen, is Karen going to show up? That'd be interesting, I'd like to see Karen, that'd be cool. Haven't seen Karen in ages. Araragi, ? I don't think we're going to see Araragi. Just a thought I have, I guess. And does Nadeko know? Does she know that Kaiki's lying? I've theorized about this in the past. Is she in on it? Is she merely playing along? Does she actually remember Kaiki? Or is she a completely new person that doesn't see that stuff as important anymore and instead kind of put her focus more on the Araragi relationship side of things that she cannot forget, unfortunately? Either way, I think it's time to jump into episode 4 now, not without my shill stuff. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I can do to improve my presentation, comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you'd like me to follow you back. And the Discord, join the Discord, vote in the poll that is currently active on the Discord, and choose the fate of the channel, for lack of a better term. Either way, jumping into episode 4 of Koimonogatari right now. Rightio, got episode 4 of Koimonogatari up here ready to go. Let me pop that up on screen there. 24 minutes and 53 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly. And as always, got the Cold Girl subs and picture in the description below. And yeah, just gonna give it a 3, 2, 1. Rightio, 3, 2, 1, go. Moon. Snow. Closet? Okay, this is him breaking into the house? Or his own room again. What did you see, sir? Yeah, it's a hotel room. Did you take it home? It was an envelope. What was in the envelope? Stay out of it. Is that what it said? Is that what it said in the thing? Oh, shit. Okay, if that's what it said, it implies a lot of things about Nadeko. Is that what it said in the thing, or is that from somebody else? Is it one of Guyan's goons? Oh no, he found that when he came back in. Okay, so what was in the closet? No, it's Guy Nezuko, unfortunately. Well, it's both. He's kind of hot, though. What the hell? Something about hot and cold water or something? Opening? Yeah. Yeah, I got through for an entire loop there. Kind of kept the closet in mind a little bit too much. I guess that reveal's coming later. Just kind of somebody telling him, fuck off, basically. Like, here's your letter, fuck off. This is your last warning, fuck off. Something like that, I think. Is this new down the bottom, the subbing? Yeah, the singing. It's like a karaoke video. Yeah, okay. They're singing that on purpose too. Is that what we call Kaiki Best Girl as well? Because he gets to sing one of the openings? Even if that is him, it doesn't really sound like Senjo. It's meant to sound like karaoke, right? I'm just trying to figure out if the visuals are different. I guess this is the biggest downside of the week break, right? As I don't remember specific visual elements all that much. No, it feels pretty similar. Okay. Please let me know if there was a grand difference in the lyrics there, but I found the karaoke part quite charming, I will say. Alright, what are we going to say to Senjo? What's going on? Please let me know. Ha. Well, you're the one that requested him. Ha 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 ha. Alright. Stop it, you two. No, not the same location. Oh, yes, the same location. No, not the same location. Alright, no meeting. Yes, elaborate. Yes. What do you mean? Yes, it did. Look at that walk cycle. It's kind of mad. Okay, so about Ononoki and Gaien. Yes. Did you? Okay. I know Hanakawa did, and I know Araragi did, yes. Yes. But no, she wouldn't. Something very unpleasant. Huh. Well, it wasn't pleasant so far. Yeah, Gaien just pushed her in the right direction, if I remember correctly. Why? Just give her a buzz. Is she? Oh, that would be cool. Yes, that is the stakes. Yeah, which means you need to be on your best behavior. Okay. Weird metaphor, but sure. Ooh, I love this. It's like a eye picture, you know what I'm talking about? And the Buddha there as well. Yes, it's true. Great question. Now he wants to get all the money. I kept quiet. But it's what he was trying to do. That was easy. Yeah, Senjukara is being skeptical here. I like that. Okay, whatever that math was, sure. Is it? Are you sure? I guess. Okay, weird one. That's interesting to his philosophy for sure. He's not lazy. He's not the type that would give 2 warnings. Cat's eye? Oh, okay. You got. She got you. That's a new one. Yeah, no, they were tailing you. They well, somebody was tailing you. Yes, it may. Always have multiple people after me. Huh. Just to make sure some stuff. Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah. I don't think he would do such a thing either. What is this Buddha thing going on? Yeah, he would. The flaws, and it reminds me of Nisei. The scenes in where he's with Karen. Yeah. Weird. I was gonna say send him a photo, but or send her a photo, but they can't do that. Yeah, you did. It's true. uh, ha ha ha. Get destroyed. Yeah, that was the implication, Senjukahara. Yes, you got it. Ha. Somebody are bullying children? But okay. These shots are really cool. Like him walking up as well. Yeah. She's keeping her wits about it. There are lies. Ha, severance pay. Haha. I don't think anybody can book our Kaiki. Gotcha. You went too far. Really? Yeah, no, you didn't. I remember. Yeah, I'm in here. Don't come in. Roommates here. Interesting. Okay. I'll need to reread parts of that too. But anyway. Snake's poison isn't addicting. Alright, I'm going to charge my phone. Eat hot chip. Okay, some more doodles that I'll need to pause on. Purchase more strings for Cat's Cradle. Once is more than enough. What did you think of buying? Frequenting a cabaret club. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they don't, but she's also. Anyway. Yeah, doesn't apply. Yeah, surely she can't get drunk. Surely. Sacred sake. Looked like he bought it from frickin' Liquorland. I don't think that's going to happen either. No. What? Why? Oh, pay her twice. You realize you're not getting this back. Oh, because it'd be like I was a god. Red flags? Red flags? It's true. Oh, I could use a beer. She still hasn't forgotten about that. Wow. I've made a something. Alright, what is this? Oh, hello! Hello. Yes. Yes, I know who you are. I like the hair. So she stopped dyeing it. Is that the implication? Hmm. This is interesting. Huh. Oh, yeah, you did. I forgot about that. What do you mean? I'm not. Anyway. She's being very respectful, wasn't she? Okay. Bro, this is like the dynamic duo. So you lied to her. Oh. So what have you been doing? And he's watching the fair go up. That's great. Okay. How so? How? I didn't know he was overseas, so. Fool something. Ooh. I don't think you can fool Guyan. Okay. What do you know? Interesting. Yeah, we're that far already, yes. But what do you have to say? Well, his hotel room's like baller as hell, so. Yeah, I mean, you think you do, huh? Okay. I mean, he's obviously, we know, but you know what I mean. Okay. What do you mean? Okay. What do you mean? Okay. Those two. Okay, I read that one. That was funny. Now give her a chance. I'm loving her look too. Okay. Just trust. Say the line, but thank you. Yeah, I'm really waiting for the meat. Are we gonna get a next episode? God damn it. My meat, no. Pause. Anyway, it was an interesting kind of interlinking episode. Kind of the biggest reveal there being the Hanakawa stuff, I guess. But yeah, pretty cool one. I liked that one a lot. Kind of funny episode too. I enjoyed it from kind of the humor perspective, I guess. What else happened? Uh, Lots of intrigue about this note. Lots of gags coming from it as well that I thought were quite good. A very interesting dynamic brewing between Senjogahara and Kaiki for sure. It's a weird one. It's a weird one for sure. I think yeah, she may not be over it entirely. But again, this is Kanki's view of it. So is he viewing her like that, or is she actually like that? She seemingly was flustered back in DC when it happened. So anyway, whatever, doesn't matter. Something about Oshino, looking for Oshino within the country, exchanging information, but also this has all been a ruse to kind of trick Guyan or get away from her eye, but also subsequently Nadeko's. It's a weird one. It's really weird, actually. Lots of stuff to keep an eye on, for sure. And yeah, previews, I believe. Yeah. Radio jumping into a little bit of analysis on that episode shortly. So I've got up, I've had something to eat, I had a look around, I said hello to my roommate, did all that kind of stuff. He knocked on the door, which was polite. Because it'd be really awkward being like, hey, I'm recording. You know what I mean. Anyway, my point being, I've forgotten a lot of what happened in the episode, but I remember it being quite good, and this is our opportunity to remember. Okay, so what happened? Note under door. We don't know who the note's from, bro. It could be the person that knows everything. Could be, or one of her lackeys. That could definitely occur. But I feel I can smell a reveal coming on. There was a good reveal right there at the end that I'll talk about as well. But there's another one. Who wrote that note? Who wrote that note? Stay out of it. It is specifically unspecific about what it's talking about, I will say, which is very interesting. So what does stay out of it mean? I've got some ideas. All right, I'm gonna spitball this one, because one of the major things in the arc has been Kaiki and Senjugahara. So who would want Kaiki to stay out of Senjugahara's business? Araragi, right? There was some implications about some amount of overhearing, but again, no, they were talking about Araragi would confront him directly. One of their sisters? Somebody that cares for Araragi and Senjugahara's relationship? This is just me. It could be what we're talking about. It could be all this stuff with Nadeko and the snake stuff and the god stuff and the Gai Nezuko stuff, but it could also be misinterpreted. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Either way, moving on from that, I think the most interesting stuff by far in the episode came at the very end with Hanakawa. So Hanakawa, as you know, very much one of my favorites, so that's good. It's nice to see her. She's wearing a beautiful outfit. Love the hair. You're killing it. Either way, more importantly, what was she talking about? She's been away, but she wanted to get away from everything so she can work independently, away from prying eyes. And they're going to compare notes, and that's kind of our lead into the next episode, which I really want to watch right now, but I can't for lack of time. But before that, there's a lot of talking in circles. There's some stuff about trusting Kaiki and Hanakawa's trust of Kaiki and her knowing everything in that regard, which I found kind of an amazing scene, to be honest. It's really, really good. There's like layers and layers of text. I thought it was quite fun. What happened in the middle again? Oh yeah, we went back up to Nadeko and we tried to get her drunk. I remember that part. Okay, anyway, moving on with the episode proper. Oh, timeline. I should do timeline. Right here we are, timeline time. This is still, like, I could use some clarification here. I'm pretty sure it's March. 74 days after January. That would make sense. Either way, Kaiki receives a note telling him to stay out of it. He calls Senjo for some advice on the issue. Kaiki continues his plan to manipulate Nadeko, mindful of being manipulated himself, which is something I missed in my little preamble there. And Kaiki meets with Hanakawa and compares notes, essentially. This is a massive oversimplification of that scene, which I think was quite good. Now I can jump into the episode proper. So I want to talk through my feelings at the very start of the episode. So I'm coming off episode 3. I want to know what's in the closet. I don't find out what's in the closet. You know what I mean? Like, we still don't know. Is it relevant to what's going on? Seemingly not so far. But are we being told or not told this specifically from a Kaiki point of view because he doesn't want us, the audience, to know yet? Interesting. So that's a big red flag already, big one, that we don't know that. This could also be the context behind the stay out of it note. So the parents could know that he was in the house and then looked in the closet, and then they could have left this note saying stay out of it. But also that wouldn't make any sense at all because how would they know where he's staying? But anyway, it's fun to think about. It's kind of like some Who Shot Mr. Burns stuff, just like a ton of different theories going out there. I like the way he examines the note, reads it, tears it up, puts it in the toilet there. I think it's very funny how meticulous he is about something that is, from the outside looking in, not all that threatening at all. I guess at this point he thinks that somebody was in the hotel room, which is a little bit more freaky. They just slid it under the door, man. You'll be okay. Yeah, stay out of it is the wording we use. I guess I could try to read that. I'm dumb. I forgot a lot of Japanese. So yeah, I guess I'll talk through again what I was thinking at the very start. I thought he found that note inside the closet, and then that wasn't what was really in the closet. It was Nadeko that knew something. You know what I mean? Nadeko knew that somebody was looking into it and then purposely withdrew what it actually was and replaced it with a note telling whoever to stay out of it, which would have let me know that Nadeko was on a higher plane. She knew like a bunch of shit that we thought she didn't. But that's not what happened at all, so I don't know why I'm even talking about it. Just want to justify the start of the reaction there. So he's a cold shower Giga Chat as well, absolute Sigma, as he showers in the snow. Alright, let me break this down. What the fuck is this? Okay, so how many people know I'm staying in the hotel? Okay, she knows I'm staying in this hotel. And then, what the fuck is going on here? Who the fuck are all these people? What is this, bro? Organization 13? And then there's Yotsugi down the bottom there, right next to me. Weird one. I don't know what this is at all. I do like this scene as a kind of humanizing moment for Kaiki. He does make mistakes. He does trip up sometimes. Maybe that's relevant in what Gai Nezuko was trying to justify with what she was saying. But he doesn't consider that they could just slip the note under the door. He thinks that somebody's in the room. And he gets in his own... Maybe this is the extraordinary syndicate he's talking about. Organization 13. Give Kaiki a Keyblade 2023. Either way... Nadeko isn't the only enemy here, of course. There are enemies on every side, Kaiki feels like. So he started with a cold shower while he was thinking, and then turned the water warm as we run into the opening, which is a bit of a weird one. And the opening's weird this time. I'll probably re-watch it through again here. It was karaoke version. I think that was more just like a fan servicey thing for the VAs to badly sing some karaoke of the opening, which I think was pretty funny. I think, also correct me if I'm wrong, it makes Kaiki the only male vocalist on an opening, besides like the choir on the previous one, I guess. They were like, lies, like that shit. Yeah, the singing starts good though, it starts like normal. And then when Kaiki comes in, you're like, oh, this is different and weird. I don't know, maybe the singing at the start isn't good, but I have like such a low bar that I didn't even notice. That's how talented they are. Maybe that's it. Either way, I think it's just a funny like Easter egg thing. We're going to give it a 2 thumbs up out of 10. It's pretty good. So Kaiki calls Senjogahara, as he likes to do this arc a lot. Again, this makes me think that the Senjogahara Kaiki dynamic is a larger part than we think right now. We're being lulled a little bit. Whoever the commenter said that maybe Senjogahara is flirting and Kaiki just doesn't know or doesn't care, I think that's kind of funny. And this is probably the best example of what we've seen so far, at any rate. She's treating him a lot like Araragi here, which I found interesting. I wonder if she was actually just a little bit sleep deprived and didn't really know what she was talking about. Again, I probably won't pause in every example of it. The banter, very good. 2 very good VAs doing a very good performance. Very goodness all over the place. You know what I mean? Kind of a strange editing technique here. So during this phone conversation, it keeps like randomly like cutting up. Yeah, like that. You know what I mean? Like, is it when the conversation changes talker? It's a very interesting one. It gives you the feeling of somebody that's a little bit nervous, maybe somebody that's a little bit jumpy, and that when the difference in sound happens, there's a shake in the camera. It's kind of a weird one, visual novel-esque, I guess. That's kind of their technique there. All right. So let's break down this mystery a little bit, right? So neither Araragi nor Senjogahara got a note to tell them to stop interfering with Nadeko. So, to me, this says that it's a different circumstance with Kaiki. Kaiki is the difference here. It's not merely just fucking with Nadeko, it's that Kaiki is fucking with Nadeko, if it is about Nadeko at all. This is a nice kind of framing device for the scene as well, I guess you would call it. We have Kaiki and his amazing looking walking cycle, walking through these tori all the way up to a border right at the very top and having a little bit of a pray. Again, not quite sure what it's trying to say there, some amount of meditation, achieving enlightenment, something to that effect potentially, but I would only be grasping at straws there. So this is a weird one. We specifically talk about this, right? And we specifically call out this, that I had to tell Senjogahara about Ononoki and Gaien Senpai. Is that just a convenience of the scene so we know that we're caught up, or is it something more sinister? I don't know. So piece of info here, Senjogahara hasn't met Gaien Nezuko, or she's lying. It's one of the two. So that's an interesting one for now, and we've already seen Araragi and Hanakawa interact with Gaien Nezuko, so this isn't any kind of reveal. Alright, so is there going to be a point where Gaien Nezuko has like a heart-to-heart with Araragi, and then gives him the talisman and says, you should feed this to Shinobu, and then Araragi doesn't do it in time, and then what happened happened? Something like that. Why else would he have it? Augie knew that he had it as well, which is an interesting one. We're keeping an eye. We don't know the motivations behind any of this yet, which makes it fuzzy. You know what I mean? So this is a good point. Gaien Nezuko, if she was, didn't want Araragi to keep going and trying, right? Telling him to just go get killed would be like very, very bad. You don't do that to somebody like Araragi, especially if you want him to stay on the same side as you. You know what I mean? We keep alluding to a piece of advice that Guy Nezuko gave Hanakawa, which I can't quite think of at the moment. I know there was something that she said that basically it was the final catalyst to solve the problem of that arc, but I'm struggling to remember. So some guidance there would be nice. Maybe we'll just get a little bit of a reminder next episode when they compare notes. Kaiki, if you want to talk to Hanakawa right now, I would give up because Hanakawa-san is overseas right now. We later learn in the episode that she isn't. She never has been, but she wanted Araragi and Senjugahara to believe this to try and get away from the eyes of others that may be watching, as well as working solo. Again, we need to see what she's found out and why she needed to do this as well. So again, this is the stakes, right? This is why Guyan is afraid. She thinks that Nadeko will go into a frenzy if she realizes that she's being deceived or that there's some trickery afoot, right? And again, Guy Nezuko, we don't really know her full motivations yet, but she seemingly is somewhat like Oshinomeme in that it's a balancing role. It's a let's not let humanity get out of control, let's not let the kind of aberration side of it get out of control, that kind of thing, right? Senjukahara brings up a random little metaphor here, and this is Kaiki's response in his head. We move to a metaphorical discussion, likening it to love obscured it for me entirely. Your metaphor didn't work at all because I'm a Sigma, basically. I don't need no hose. Again, can we look deeper into that? I've never felt love. I cannot relate to love. I don't know. Or it was just like a funny throwaway. It's hard to say at this point. There is a theme in this conversation of Senjugahara like keeping Kaiki in check, not letting him merely do whatever he wants. She's going to continue working in the background on different stuff. She's not going to completely put trust in him, which is probably a good move considering it's Kaiki. She is also skeptical when he apparently refused 3 million yen to do this. You love money, that's like your thing. Why didn't you just say, yeah, fuck this, I'm leaving? Unless you can get both. And he's like, bingo, you got me, in his own head. I thought that was quite funny. I want to talk about this room. This reminds me a lot of the conversation between Karen and Kaiki back in Nisei Monogatari. Kind of these trippy visuals, trying to confuse, trying to deceive. All is not what it seems. He's standing in the middle of it. It's a pretty easy one to analyze, I believe. Yeah, I kept quiet is his words in his head. Yeah, I only focus on money. You assumed I only focused on money, and you were right. And I just remembered this leaned into an interesting piece of philosophy here from Kaiki, I must say. I've also noticed that he's brushing his hair back to the fake way as well, which is interesting. But with given the choice to not complete the job and get 3 million yen, or complete the job and get around 3 million yen, why does he continue to complete the job? So, the fakeness ideology, Kaiki's ideology, is not one out of like a lack of effort. You know what I mean? It's not out of laziness. It's not like a I don't know if you guys have seen Hyoka. It's not an Oreki Hotoro situation, right? He's not merely like an efficiency weirdo. He's got some other stuff going on. We're going to dive into it more as the show continues, but for now it's just a really interesting observation that when given the choice to be lazy or not be lazy, despite his personality, he still chooses to complete the job. Does it talk more to would this happen every situation, or is it specifically this job and who's involved? Potentially that as well. And then the assertion of adults and children in it as well. Like, children would think to be lazy, adults don't toss out their jobs so nonchalantly. That's bullshit. Or is it more in a broad sense of growing up, right? Because I know plenty of adults that are lazy, like plenty. This is another really interesting point as well. What's done is done, I've already chosen, blah, 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 blah. But Guyan is also not the type that would give 2 warnings, right? She wouldn't warn me through Ononoki and then warn me through a letter. So this is another inkling, to me at least, that they're talking about different things. What is cat's eye in this context? Is that something that I'm missing here? Does it mean like a cat burglar or somebody that like snuck in and snuck out and left something or stole something? You know what I mean? And then he stops using this term when Senjugahara like figures the door under the door as an option there. Yeah, I don't know what cat's eye is. Someone from Cat's Eye. I like this part here because it's one of the few moments we see that Kaiki isn't all that he cracked up to be. You could just slide the envelope under the door. He didn't realize this. He's quite embarrassed that he didn't realize this, that his mind went all over the place because of this. Yeah, clearly you could see a gap under the door in this frame, and the music starts up at just the right time. It's pretty well paced, good comedic moment. I can't help but feel like this is another piece of evidence as well. The shadower, the person that was tailing me, may be a completely different case that has nothing to do with this. We're bringing up this as a possibility. There are lots of people that don't like Kaiki, there are lots of people that would want him to stay out of various things. Again, there's something almost noir about this arc as well that I quite like. It's something about the trench coats, it's something about the night right now as well, and kind of deducing all this stuff, right? Like somebody thinks they're being tailed and they're not tailed, and there's kind of this like level of deception to it of who's leaving messages for who, what are the motivations. These are all the questions of the narrative, which I find really cool. This arc is definitely got me. It's very good. I also like this as a technique in the scene. I've only noticed it now. Kind of the giant billboard there of Senjugahara, kind of like on a piece of advertising, a piece of fakeness maybe. But I don't. It's giving me Blade Runner 2049 more than anything else. Kind of, the very famous scene. It's kind of giving me that. Yeah, it's just it's an interesting one. On the phone with her while she's up in lights. Not quite sure what to make of it. Anyway, we finally, how long was that? Like 10 minutes in, we finally get to the meat of the conversation, which is Senjugahara basically says, I don't know who that is. I can't help you, sorry. Senjugahara categorically denies anybody in the Araragi house having heard her on the phone to Kaiki potentially. And then we bring up Araragi as an option, but again, Araragi is the type of person that would confront Kaiki head on. Right? So I guess the philosophy here at this point is, well, I have no more information here. I guess I'm just going to continue what I was doing and then just play it by ear, essentially. Just continue trying to deceive Nadeko, I guess. There's a nice little joke here as well. The note was handwritten. If Senjugahara could potentially have a look at it, she would be able to tell you who it is, potentially by knowing their handwriting. A little bit more of a little detective movie trick as well. But as we saw before, Kaiki had already disposed of said letter. And of course, after, I guess Kaiki feels like his intelligence has been insulted here a little bit when Senjugahara says, why'd you do that? It was like important evidence. Well, I'm always quickly to throw out things I don't need. Like you, that's the implication, which Senjugahara confirms in the next line. And yeah, this little bit at the end of the exchange as well, I was unable to determine if she was trying to help me or not. Oh well, I thought, and ignored that. No point in bullying the children. He is delightfully devilish, bullying the children. It's very insulting. And then I feel like this is towards the end of the conversation. Kaiki reassures Senjugahara that, hey, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. It clearly isn't about you. Just let me do everything. It's all going to be okay. And then Senjugahara says, not quite. I'm going to keep doing my own stuff in the background as well. Not because I don't trust you, but kind of because I don't trust you. Kaiki even applauds this a little bit, calling it how sensible, right? That she would do this. She knows who I am, she knows my tricks, and she's not going to fall for it, especially when something as important as not only her own life, but Araragi's life, more importantly, as at stake. So Kaiki is going to continue going up to the shrine every day, basically, and he says, till the end of January, it's going to be like 30 days. That's 10,000 yen each time you see her. Sounds like you're frequenting a cabaret club. Ha ha ha. But yeah, he thinks that the severance pay, he calls it, from Kainazuko is going to more than make up for it. Oh, and then this is the last element of the conversation I remember. We're worried that Sengoku Nadeko may beguile Kaiki if he continues to go up there every day. Initially I'm like, well, nobody can beguile Kaiki, right? But Sengoku Nadeko is a god now. So it could be more than possible that she may have some tricks up her sleeve. I don't know, we'll see. Of course, there's a little bit here where he tries to flirt, probably a bridge too far, and then Senjugahara hangs up the phone. Thought it was quite funny. And then the last line here, I just hope the snake poison isn't addicting. And the way they're kind of leading that line off, I don't know. We'll see. I feel like there's one more twist in this tale, if not 2 or 3. I really like the way this was edited. Again, Senjugahara phone screen, we've used that a lot during the whole Araragi arcs, right? And we're continuing to use it here. Just the various cuts back to the Buddha temple sometimes. He's standing there in the room. The cut to him in the squiggly room. Just, yeah, standard Monogatari stuff, which is very, very good. Alright, let's try to decipher some of these pictures. Okay, let me think about this. Let me disappear myself for a little bit. There I am. Okay, I'm gone. Where's my pen? Pen. Okay, so up here. What is going on here? Burglarer, cat burglarer, in my locked room? Question mark. Sad house. Don't really know what that's about. Person tailing me, potentially. Somebody in the shadows, the shadowy figure. That's what I'm getting anyway. I'm going to continue to play Cat's Cradle games with Nadeko up at the shrine. Snake Shrine, Snake Girl, Cat's Cradle. Cool. And then in the meantime, there was a coffee date, kind of, between, I'm guessing this is Yotsugi, and Guy Nezuka's involved, money involved. These are just like the elements of the story. This is pretty funny. All right, cool. He's narrated this one for me here as I put myself back in. Go to the shrine of the Polar Snake 100 times until the end of January. I don't know how the math makes sense there. Is he going there multiple times a day? Maybe. And he has little importance levels for stuff too. Find author of letter, importance level 4. What does this mean? I guess it's pretty important. Looking out for people trailing me, vigilance level 2. Is that less than 4 or more than 4? Don't get seen by Araragi critical, that's funny. Find out Gaian's motivation, priority level low. That's high on my priority level, damn it. And don't get seen by Araragi's sisters as possible. Okay, so hates Araragi, doesn't want to get seen by Araragi at all. The sisters, it is what it is. And then, of course, the most important part, purchase more strings for Cat's Cradle, which is what he goes and does now. So, okay, this is what I'm reading this as. Is he trying to over-efficiency, like, the 100 prayers thing by making better prayers every time? Like, instead of, okay, let's test this. Instead of 10,000 yen, I'm going to drop in 20,000 yen and see what happens, right? I'm going to leave her with some sake, see if she likes that. That way I can save time and potentially money. And I was thinking it, I'm happy you brought it up. The ethical criticism about making a junior high girl drink doesn't apply. She's a god now, it's fine. It doesn't stop him feeling weird about it later when she's like, what's sake? Because she like literally doesn't know. How would she know? It's a little bit dicey, but sure, go off, I guess. So she goes to say Nadeko Dayo again, and then trips and then falls into the box, which is quite funny. Fucking dies. And yeah, I thought she might like it. I think she did. So clearly she's very happy about everything that happened here. I wonder if his little cheat worked. We get this line here. Clearly she still is thinking about the Koyomi thing. I think secretly Kaiki maybe hoped that she had forgot. I don't think she's the type to forget, though. Rightio, now we get into the second half of the episode, and what I think is probably the most interesting part of it. It's the conversation with Hanakawa. Of course, I'm going to hyperanalyze the Hanakawa stuff. I am one to do. For a start, let's talk hair. Okay, so the end of Nekoshiro, I thought the implication was that she was going to diet every day as to keep up appearances at school. Essentially a lie. So, what does showing somebody what I actually look like without the hair dye, what does that say, right? It says I'm coming to you with no pretense, right? I completely believe you. I'm going to put my trust in you. I know from your reputation you're deceitful and all that kind of stuff, right? I don't care. I'm going to trust you regardless. That's what it tells me anyway, right off the bat. Because it's a very specific choice that they chose to use this design, I think. Very specific. I'm missing a lot of the context here because I'm not Japanese, but I think Kaiki takes some, I guess, what's the word? Some problem, I guess, with her being so formal. He conjectures at one point and says, you don't need to do that, blah, 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 blah. Which, I don't know what they're trying to say there. That one's a whole other can of worms, but I just thought it was interesting, right? Like the way that she's right out, right? It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Hanakawa Tsubasa, classmates with Senjo Gahara and Araragi. You may already know that, but I'm telling you everything now. All the cards are on the table. I'm telling you things that I didn't even tell Senjo Gahara. That's how much trust I'm putting in you right now. Kind of this magical, starry, bamboo, foresty, like dewy kind of look as well for the scene. I really enjoy. Very relaxing, very it's, you know, kind of like an afternoon sun feel to it. Also, it helps that she's just adorable as well, so that definitely helps. Yeah, I love the outfit. The shirt's like nice. I like it. Brings up an interesting point here. Hey, I helped with the Fire Sisters way back in the day when us, the audience, first heard about Kaiki, right? I assisted with that investigation. That's something that I didn't realize, but oh yeah, she is right. She is definitely putting all the cards on the table here. Yeah, this is the part I was talking about. Kids shouldn't speak in such a humble manner. Again, this adult-kid separation, right? Interesting one. What other arc was talking about adults and kids? Was it the end of Nisei? I think it might have been with Kaganui. potentially. I forget. So they're going to go have a chat, basically, kind of compare notes, I guess. The taxi fare is a constant thing in the scene that I found hilarious. Again, we're Kaiki POV. He's constantly just like flicking his head over and checking how much money he's wasting on this taxi. I think that's funny. Like the framing here, the scene, right? Like there's no one else in the world. Like everything else is shut out. The only two characters here, the only two important ones, right? That's the vibe the music's giving as well. Something very important is happening here. Either way, let's talk about this lie. So, Senjogahara wasn't lying about Hanakawa being overseas, she was just telling what she knew. Hanakawa lied to Senjogahara and Araragi that she was overseas, essentially. So, okay, we're coming at this like, here's all my cards on the table, but also to this point, to get to this point, I've had to lie to Senjogahara, which is an interesting one, right? Probably her best friend, right? So that doesn't come like lightly, right? She didn't do that for no reason. She says this was kind of pointless from the Senjogahara Araragi direction, right? I thought I might be able to break through by pulling this faint trick. Who are you trying to trick at this point? Kaiki posits that it's Nadeko, but I think not Senjogahara. I think Hanakawa hits the nail on the head when she says Gai Nezuko. That's the one I want to avoid the side of for now. But also mentioning Oshino, so maybe she was still looking for Oshino at this point. He would know what to do. He's very good at that, and an Oshino return would be very, very cool. I just wonder where it'll come from. You know, is Oshino secretly just watching somewhere, right? Is he going to let Araragi die? Would he let him do that? He's let him make mistakes before, but not really, really bad mistakes like he has now. So maybe he actually is just gone, right? I think I noticed in the reaction that me and Hanako had the same reaction to to Kaiki saying that getting advice from Gai Nezuko would be a misfortune. We just kind of went, huh, at the same time. So we're basically the same. She's just like me, for real. The implication of this conversation as well is that she came back for this. She came back to talk to Kaiki. So this tells me that she has some juicy shit that we want to learn next episode for sure. But here she called it a happy miscalculation, so maybe she didn't know as much. Anyway, it's tough to say. Okay, now this part in context, now they've got this idea of her being completely open, cards on the table, all that kind of jazz. This part is very, very relevant as well. So she says, yeah, we can meet at my hotel room. It's pretty cheap, blah, 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 blah. But you're not concerned about inviting middle-aged Kaiki into your hotel room? Right? Normally that'd be a little bit of a, what do the kids say, ick, right? Either way, she doesn't. She doesn't think that. She completely trusting, again, cards on the table. I can't say it enough times. This is definitely what's happening here. Probably something Kaiki is, like contrast this with how Senjogahara was being sketchy, having kind of backup plans in case Kaiki does some shit. She has experience here, but it is like Hanakawa to be trusting like this, right? I think she knows that she needs to be trusting to get the progress that she wants. I think something like that. This here was an interesting part as well about identical intentions. Not really sure what they mean, but I'll go with it again. I'll give it another read. Also wanted to note they say the hotel looks cheap. Looks very cheap. The colors and the furniture look it's giving me like hostile vibes, you know? Like, I'm definitely not the only one seeing this. He called it a case, right? For this case. It's definitely detective vibes, right? That's what I'm thinking. So I thought this was a loaded question more in regards to Shinobu more than anything, but I guess we're just not mentioning Shinobu. When we say saving the two of them, Senjogahara and Araragi is sufficient. I thought Kaiki was trying to catch her in something, right? Where she may not want Shinobu to be there. Or maybe Kaiki's trying to catch her in some kind of... But you said... I don't know. It's a weird one. Just, yeah, no mention of Shinobu. I guess she's not that relevant to these two. But yeah, just making sure we have, like, people's feelings are important in my job. It's my job to know people's feelings, essentially, when I try to frickin' scam them. So, just checking. You want to save Senjogahara and Araragi, right? And I guess this is the distinction. It doesn't have to be Hanakawa that saves them. She just wants them saved. Right? Just checking that she doesn't want to be the hero, she just wants the outcome to be the exact same, essentially. Do you swear to a god? I swear to a cat. And then I found Kaiki's dialogue hilarious here, just in his own head. What the hell? Perhaps that's an expression, or perhaps some kind of high schooler code. I really can't deal with this, everything is leaving me behind. Oh, he's so old. He doesn't know. He didn't watch the rest of the show. That's funny. Again, adding to our theme of trust, right? You're not going to ask me anything? And again, I thought I was smart here before, but Kaiki brings it up specifically. Senju seems to worry a lot about this kind of stuff. You don't? You don't care? There's kind of water falling from an icicle as a visual there. She smiles and says, I'm not going to ask. Interesting. Again, full trust completely. And the smile at trying to check, right? He's still that, cagey. And again, Kaiki checks once more. Stops her as she tries to delve into the main topic. Why aren't you asking? Are you saying that you can see through my feelings? Can you see through my lie as well? Can you see through to what I'm actually trying to do, that I actually have their best interests at heart? And then Hanakawa gives him a look. It seems these questions aren't worth asking. It seems like you know everything, young lady, and that's the cue for the line we all know. But this implies to me that Hanakawa already knows that their feelings are aligned. She knows that deep down, Kaiki really wants to save these two, despite what he says, right? And I think that's very interesting. I'm loving this meeting. I think it's fascinating. And at this point, we kind of get Kaiki to admit defeat. Let's get to the main topic. How about we exchange some information Hanakawa? And I'm pretty sure that's where we end the episode. It most certainly is. That is the end of the episode, and yeah, it's a pretty good one. I really liked that one. I thought that was a great episode. Funny, well-paced, two fantastic conversations, kind of, conflicting each other, juxtaposing. I thought it was very, very interesting. And I think kind of the level of kind of delving into the motivations really helped me think through things in a nice way. I don't know what else to say besides congratulations for making another good episode of television, which they seem to do every week, so I shouldn't continually congratulate them on it, but I will. Either way, I want to watch the next 2 episodes now, but I can't because I'm out of time, and we'll do 2 next week. Please be excited. I don't really know what's going to happen. I honestly can't tell you. I think there's a few more twists and turns pertaining to Nadeko specifically. Maybe it is all that easy. I just don't think it is. But we'll see. What does Hanakawa have to say? Is it about Oshinomeme? Hanakawa brought up Oshinomeme specifically. We'll see. We will see. Either way, just housekeeping one more time. Poll on the channel. Vote in poll if you care about what I watch, which I don't know. I would if I was in your position, but obviously I care because I have to watch it. But anyway, I digress. Please vote if you feel so inclined. I guess I'll just do the rest of it. Like the damn video, damn it, and subscribe to all that stuff. The stuff I normally say. Weird video this week. Sorry for the 1 episode. It is what it is. And thank you. I'll see you next week. Adios. Goodbye.